welcome back to the show. My name is Michael. I'll be your host today and cha-cha music player. And, we talk about boudoir photography here. So, have a question, curious, you're doing the session soon and you want to find out some information, that's what we're all about, answering questions. And summer is rapidly coming to an end. By the time you're listening to this, it could be long gone. And that means I get bombarded by fall brides. It's like quiet, but then all of a sudden, just all these inquiries. I'm getting married in September, I'm getting married in October, I'm getting married in November. And they all want to come in. And so that's what we're going to be chatting a little bit about today. Getting ready, how much time you need for this, answering a few of those questions. And for those of you who are new, my name is Michael. I'm a women's photographer in New Jersey, working with women for many, many years, and has worked with hundreds of brides. And I may know a thing or two about boudoir photography. And what we want to do is give people the information they need to make smart choices when choosing their photographer. Because it's not easy. Go back and listen to a few episodes of this show, you'll see not that easy. Actually, it can be pretty difficult. So, just trying to give people the information they need to make a smart choice, because we want everybody to walk away with going, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I got some great photos. It was a pleasant experience. 2 thumbs up, rather than getting themselves in a little bit of a mess and walking away having regrets. I was just chatting with somebody about that sort of the other day, because I hear stories. A lot of it's not very pleasant, and it's the unfortunate part of my job. Like I say, a lot of women I work with, they may bring a friend along and, maybe chatting, and, the friend's always like, oh, I was looking at your website and that's how I wanted my stuff to look, and it didn't turn out that way. And they go into the story, and it's usually very similar. And a coworker or a friend of a friend told me they knew somebody, and she's so good. She's outstanding. So I contacted this person for my wedding boudoir album, and it was a mess. The whole thing was a mess. She didn't know what she was doing. A lot of inconsistencies, communication, and everything else. The photos didn't look good. They were awkward. She was making me do weird things in the session that, didn't seem like it was going to turn out right, and it didn't turn out right. I've heard it all. And so we're here to answer these questions to help that not happen to you, because the reason why I started doing this, because of all the things I've heard going on and just trying to get this information out there, like I said, to help women make smart choices so they can have cute photos. Everybody wants to look cute. Everybody wants about cute boudoir albums. That's what we want. We don't want the people like, oh, mine just didn't turn out like that. So, trying to keep that from happening. And then the more information you have about what to ask, what to expect, the odds of that happening to you start to go way down. So, pull up a chair. If you're driving, pull over to the side of the road. I'll give you a minute. Pull over right now and listen. And then, hopefully this will help you out. And what the question for this week is I'm getting married this fall. It's in October. When should I schedule my boudoir shoot? And will an expensive album make my photos look better than a book? It's a common question too, that because there's such a diversity, or there's such a range in prices of products, and people are always curious if something is more expensive is going to make the photos look better. But we'll start with part 1. Getting married this fall in October. when should I schedule my boudoir shoot? And I've revised my answer over the years to a question like this, and now I'm just like, earlier the better. But if we're talking like at a minimum, because the one thing that a lot of women don't think of is that in a session, your session day is just one tiny part of the whole process. Because you have to remember, what is your session? 2 hours, 2.5 hours that you're in there? But that's just the beginning. So you have to remember that the person you're working with may have other projects going on, and it may even take them a little bit even to get into those photos. And then once they do, culling through that stuff, the ones where you're blinking look really weird, they got to get through all those. And then they have to start the editing process. Now you'd hope, and this is something we were chatting about with somebody earlier, you hope that the person you're working with is editing their own photos and it's not being done by AI, or they're not sending them out to, remember, that's like a privacy thing. If they're outsourcing their editing, who knows whose hands they're going into, but I don't want to go down that road. But you hope they're a competent editor, which takes time. It's not easy. That's part of the work. It takes a lot of time to edit photos, so that can take a while. Then you typically will get a gallery or some kind of a viewing gallery. Takes a while for people to make selections, and then from that, there's preview. So then your pictures have to go into like an album preview. Make sure you like the layout, and then from that, it gets sent out, print, bound, and shipped, which also takes time. So after your session, that could be a couple weeks right there, depending how busy you are, depending how busy the photography is, for all that to happen. So, one of the things that always is like surprising to me, I got one in the spring, I think. I haven't had a lot lately, but I think I got one in the spring. And I'm not sure now where, it's like the end of May and someone will contact you. I'm getting married on June 9th. And it's like May 30th. Can I come in for a session? I'm like, session for what? Got like a week for your wedding? 7 days? 8 days? It's just not going to be possible to go through. And then remember, you have to schedule your session day, which is going to be out. And if they're working with makeup artists, you got to find someone that's free. So you're coordinating a bunch of people. It's something that can't happen that quick. So it's always sad when I have to say, yeah, I don't think we're going to have enough time. Like a week? It's not happening. It happens. Because people don't know. And I've had some pretty short turnarounds, like in some crunches. I'm like, let's see if I could do this. And rush through, but it's not fun. It's a lot of pressure. So giving yourself, 2 or 3 months for your wedding just makes things much easier. You don't have the stress on yourself. Photographer's not under a lot of stress. If they're busy, it's more time for, if you give more time to look through your photos, make sure you like them and editing them and make sure you like the layout of your book. So if you're in October, you should be hitting your session at sometime in August, right? September, October, at a minimum. The latest, if you're like mid-October is mid-September, you give yourself a month. That's like doable, but still, depending how busy that photographer is, that could be rushing things. So easily 2 to 3 months longer is better. So I understand there's lots of stuff going on in the bridal universe, so yeah, what happens too is people don't even think about doing a boudoir till very late. Like sometimes too, someone says, maybe it's not like a plan from the beginning. Someone brings it up to them or they get the idea very late. I get it. So usually earlier is better at that part. And then at part B, will an expensive album make my photos look better than a book? Excuse me while I sip my drink. Yeah. Yeah, all right, now I'm ready. So will an album make photos look better than the book? And what she means is, you have to think of photo products kind of like automobiles. They come in a whole range of price points. And photo books are different from albums. Photo books look good. They're printed on paper, essentially. A magazine picture is printed on paper, or a book photo is printed on paper. They may be glossy, it may be matte, but paper. In an album, the photos are printed on a photographic substrate. So if you've ever held a print in your hand, trying to think of something, it's photographic substrates of what photos are on. So albums are made of that, and usually they're thicker. They're like bunches of layers in there. So it's kind of like, it's better. So when you print photos on an album, that's how they were naturally meant to be printed. So they look better in an album. More expensive things tend to be albums, not always, but usually. But the simple answer to that, yes, is your photos will look better in an album than in a photo book. Photo book is not bad, but like I said, it's kind of like they're all going to get you to the grocery store, right? If you use cars as an example, if you had a little Toyota, like a Prius, and let's say you get into your Prius and you close the door, it goes choop. And then you push your start button, and it doesn't make any noise because it's kind of like electric, and you drive to the grocery store, and you're there. You've got your pleather seats or your cloth seats, and put your groceries in the back, and you get there, and it's fine. It's going to get you there. It's going to get you back. It's good. When you jump into your fancy Audi, and you close the door, it goes... feel it, and it feels solid, and it feels just like, ugh. And then you're sitting in the seat that kind of just come up all around you, leathery, smells good, you don't hear any noise coming through because you got that soundproof glass going on all around. The engine goes, ooh, it's a little bit different, right? It's going to get you to the grocery store. Put your groceries in the back. Coming home. So both cars do kind of that same thing. So why in the world, how come Audi even exists? Why would anybody pay $114,000 for a car when they can get a Prius for like $24,000, $25,000, $26,000? Are these people crazy? Are they getting ripped off? Like, why would you spend any more money than that for a car? But people do, right? People do. So why do they go out and spend $115,000 on an Audi when they don't have to? Well, it's for that experience and that build quantity and that, and they close the door, like, solid, good. You got real leather in here. What I call a car. Because it's preference and it's budget, and that's what makes someone happy. That's how they want to drive around. They have the money to do it. It's faster than a Prius, and maybe they want to race around, and that's okay. I get it. And it's very similar kind of thing with photo books. You can get a very basic photo book, put your pictures in it, and it's going to look fine. Give it on your wedding day. Husband's going to be happy. You're going to be happy. Pictures are going to look good. Good times. Good job. You can also go out and get a handmade, hand-sewn leather album. And people are like, I don't get it. As soon as somebody puts one of those in your hands and your hands go poof down to the ground, you're like, oh my God, this weighs like so much. It's so thick, and the pages are like this thick, and it just feels like it's the Audi. It smells like leather. Texture is like sewn, and a lot more money. The photos in it are going to look really, really good. People buy them. Yes, the pictures are going to look better in that, but it's also going to cost a lot more. I don't understand, Michael. That's a ripoff. Why would anybody pay so much money for an album like that when they can get one just for like $35? They do, just like the cars. Just like why people get expensive hotels, just like anything else. People want something a little bit better, a little bit heavier, beefier, and that's just a function of preference and what somebody likes. So that's why, too, there's no way you can comparison shop photographers simply looking on a website with a price and not knowing any details about anything. Because if you see a price, how do you know? You don't know what type of album that they're including or they're giving you. So if you see one boudoir photographer saying, I got a $399 session, and another one over here advertising an $1,800 session, and you're saying, that's a ripoff. Is it? Maybe the other photographer is including one of those really fancy, heavy-duty albums, and it's a whole different kind of experience. Just like a car. You wouldn't walk into an Audi dealer and say, well, you might want me to buy one of your cars. You're going to have to match the price down the street. I saw a Prius down there that was $23,000. You want me to buy this Audi car? You're going to give me for that price, or I'm going down there. Right? They just look at you like you're a nut job. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Get out of here. You're giving me a headache. So in a way, very similar. You would never do that. Audi's not trying to compare price with, Toyota Prius. It's just two different universes. And in photography, it's very similar. Photographers may offer very different products and albums at very different prices, and you can't compare. And you would never know that by just seeing a price. You got to ask. You got to say, what am I getting for my $399 book? What kind of album is it? Is it a handmade album? Da-da-da. And if it's the $1,800 one, they may say, yes, it's a Fineo, it's handmade, it's got an acrylic cover, got these incredible leathers, da-da-da-da, and it's thick, and trust me, those albums weigh like 20 pounds. I know. And it's just a different experience. And for people who want that, they're like, cool, that's what I want. Come on down. And yes, the bottom line is the photos look better in an album than in a photo book. But keep in mind, just like a car, they're all going to get you to the grocery store. It all comes down to preference and budget. And the Audi's not for everybody, and that's okay. You'll be fine if you get a regular photo book, and that's okay. But they're all different things for all different people. And just by purely looking at a price of something, you have no idea what you're getting. Photography, especially boudoir photography, is not a price comparative industry. So many different variables. So do not solely compare prices and make a decision based on that, because you have no idea what you're comparing. None. You would never compare like that for any other part of your life. So don't do it for photography. Like you would not do that if you were car shopping. Going, it's a $118,000 car. And over there's a $21,000 car. What a ripoff. I'm not, these people think you're crazy. Why would anybody buy that car? People don't do that for car, but yet they'll do that for boudoir. This is always very bizarre. So that's how there can be all different price points. A big part of that is the product. So if you want something, now albums, not all albums are super outrageously, crazily expensive. There are more modest priced ones, but in general, albums are going to be more than photo books in cost, generally speaking. So expect to pay more for them. But if you want something that looks a little bit crisper, brighter, and more vibrant, go with the album. Better feel, go with the album. Will your pictures look better? Yes, they will. Are you going to go into a fit of weeping if you get a photo book? No, it's going to look fine. Like I said, it's just purely a budgetary choice and preference. So we do a lot of albums for weddings. Probably most of my brides are getting albums from me. I can't speak to everybody else. For things like Christmas and stuff like that, we do a lot of photo books. People may not be looking to spend that amount of money for a Christmas gift. Wedding's a special occasion. And these women coming in Christmas are very happy with their albums, and they're very content with that. So that's a quick look at albums versus photo books. Will an expensive album make your stuff look better? Yes. You have to do that? No. Don't pick a photographer solely on price. Ask a lot of questions. And that's why we're here, because it's very confusing, very difficult. And if you're watching me on video, I have no idea why my arm is sticking out like this right now. I have no idea why I'm doing this with my arm. But it's one of the things that just kind of gets under my skin when people, shop for photography so differently than they would shop for anything else. And that's the point of this show. Ask questions. Get the women the information they need to make smart choices for their photographer. You have to understand that all photographers are not the same. In 2024, and I was talking about this with somebody else, the year 2024, most women's boudoir photographers, if I had to rate them, are low, medium quality to bad. Low, medium to bad in terms of their technical ability. It's because people don't want to put the work in to become technically excellent. They think a camera does it. They think AI is going to do it. It's not going to make them brilliant photographers, but that's another topic we've talked about before. So ask questions, find out how long they've been working as a photographer, ask what kind of albums they use. If you're shopping for your wedding and you see something on there, ask, is it an album? Is it a photo book? What type of album? Is it a handmade album? Is it a mass-produced album? So that way you can get an idea of what you're getting for your money. And then if they say, if something is more and it is a handmade album, okay. Talking to Crazy Mike, and he explained that could be really expensive. So now I get it. Oh yeah, I see this photographer works in a really fancy location. The photos are going to look nice in a fancy place. So I get it. So that's why it costs more. There's makeup and hair and stuff in there. I get it. It's going to cost more. This photographer has been working for years and years and years. They hand edit all their stuff. It looks, but yeah, I get it. I'm paying for the experience of that person. It's going to be more. Versus someone who's started photography 3 months ago and has no technical ability or anything like that. And see the episode last week, or 2 weeks ago, about the $5,000 fake photographers, and that's something that's emerging and you really need to be aware of. So if you're going to listen to an episode, listen to that one from a couple of weeks ago about the faux luxury photographers, which is a thing now all out there. So that's what we got for you this week. Hopefully that was helpful. And as always, we want you to make smart choices, smart decisions, ask questions so you can walk away with a great experience from your photographer, have stuff that you can enjoy for years and years, and not get taken. We don't want that to happen. We don't want you to have a bad boudoir story. We want everybody to have fun. Cute photos. So do it. Do it. And as I get ready to jump into my fall season, it gets a little hectic and crazy, but it's fun. And as always, everybody questions, reach out to me, leave a comment on YouTube below this. I think you can leave a comment on Spotify if you're watching on Spotify. Email me, reach out to me on Instagram with any questions, and we're here to help. I want you to have a good experience. And that's it for this week. 23 minutes of me ranting. Hopefully that was information that was helpful for you. And I will talk to you next week, folks. Thanks.